I'm from Portland, Oregon. My studio practice primarily deals with sound as a medium, relates to sound both as a physical force and as recorded material. It extends into a performance practice as well. I wind up using a lot of off-the-shelf materials in my practice, like things like raw speakers, other kind of elements that you can use in sound production and reproduction. I wind up leaving the elements as they are exposed. In my performances, I usually create a kind of system for me to improvise within. Any given sound goes through multiple stages throughout a performance, and the audience can see the way that it's being transformed. It's a completely additive process where I start with nothing and slowly build up beds of sound, and then as time progresses, melodies kind of emerge and kind of surface and then go back under, and then other elements can kind of peek through, and I just wind up building up these compositions. When I first got to Bemis, I spent a good amount of time getting settled in. Over the last year, I've been doing research related to gun violence in the United States and taking different data points and plotting that across a graph. So I created a 14-channel sound installation using speakers that vibrate at different frequencies in order to activate spent bullet casings. Using data on the number of people who were injured or killed in any given episode, I mapped those to the frequency and amplitude of the signals coming from the speakers. I was able to really try to convey the intensity of the events that occurred on any given month. I was able to show that piece at the open house and open studio. One piece that I've been thinking about working on for a while, conversations with my grandfather back in the Philippines, who passed away in 2012. I recorded quite a bit of conversations with him on different visits with a little handheld recorder, and was kind of pulling out fragments of those conversations because he's somebody that I really miss talking to.
I hope you won't mind, but I have to ask you some questions here. What is the means of living?
This idea of distance and memory and dialogue is something that I've really been trying to explore the last couple of years.
And my mother selling fish in the marketplace. So she's a market vendor.
The isolation that a lot of us have felt around the pandemic and different methods of communication that we really didn't have at our disposal before.
I hope you won't mind, but I have to ask. Yes, a small piece of land planted.
In every site-specific piece that I wind up constructing, I always try to keep architecture as a consideration and find ways to kind of engage with those spaces. The different floors at Bemis, that atrium on the 5th floor really spoke to me as being this really special place with the way that it's constructed and then kind of been deconstructed, and the light and just spatial quality of it. I really wanted to try to claim that space and think about what could be done in there, and it wound up being really a perfect setting for the gun violence piece that I was working on. Having this quality where the sound resonated in the space and the light that was coming through the windows and the skylights cast themselves almost like a sundial across the cement pillars that the speakers are sitting on. Pieces that I create both in performance and installation or recorded material for listening, it's this interconnectedness that I feel like is something that I strive to create, like creating an environment for people to kind of immerse themselves in and maybe either let their mind wander or focus on something, like little fragments of details that reveal themselves over time. There's a level of ambiguity that I really enjoy when it's like you can't quite tell what made that sound or what instrument it was, like, and that's like a great thing because every person brings their own experiences in translating what those could be, and whether it's something from their memory or something they've never heard before, that's kind of the sweet spot for me.